Hey guys, welcome back to another video. In this one, I'm actually going to go through a budgeting spreadsheet. This is something that I use myself, and this is based off the Barefoot Investor method, which is basically spend 60% of your income on your expenses, and then basically what you have left over is going to go to things like your weekly spend, your medium-term savings, and your emergency investing fund. So it's really simple once you get this set up, but this will basically take you out of debt forever, provided you follow it and you actually stick to the plan. This is a fantastic way for you to budget, and I wish I had learned this when I was in school, or even when I was just learning to save and invest money. This is going to be a really big, valuable learning tool for people, especially who are younger, and even those who are just looking to improve their overall spending habits. So I'm going to show you exactly how this spreadsheet works, and I will leave a link in the bottom in the description for this specific spreadsheet so you can download this and edit this yourself and use it. So on your left hand side here, so once you open up the budgeting spreadsheet, you're going to have a list here of all your expenses that you have to pay throughout the year. So this is something that you owe to a company for using their service. This is going to be your yearly cost for that service. And then this is going to be a weekly cost breakdown. Now, depending on whether you get paid weekly or fortnightly or monthly, you can change this, and I'm going to show you how to do that as well. But for now, we're going to break this down to weekly. And I've just got some examples in here for things that most people would probably pay for. So things like your personal mobile phone, your internet, electricity, gas, if you have private health, if you're paying rent for your house or yearly rent for your house, home insurance if you own your own home, how much you would pay for shopping per week or on a weekly basis, petrol, if you get things like haircuts or manicures. I classify personally a haircut as a non-negotiable. I have to get a haircut every 4 to 6 weeks, but if you get a haircut every 4 months or 6 months, then you would just spread that cost out over the course of the week. So it's something that you will have to pay for eventually. Car registration, car insurance, things like that. If you have things like Netflix or any pay service, TV services, if you are signed up for any, for example, like I use like an email marketing service, so that's something that I have to pay for every year. Basically any bills, all right, has to go into this column. So what I suggest you do is go into your bank, go through every single month, and see exactly what transactions are coming out. Yes, this is going to be a bit of self-reflection. It's going to actually show you what you're spending all your money on. But buying things like new clothes and going out for lunches is not an expense. All right, that is a personal expense. That's a fun expense. Now, what you want to do is work out the yearly cost of that specific expense. Now, you can either do this you can do this a couple of ways. You can either go through it and actually work out and see the company and see what is the yearly expense for this, or you can work out the cost of it by timesing it by 52. So for example, if you're due to pay $32 per month, for example, say $32 per month for your phone, and there's 12 months in the year, you would be looking at $384 per year. Now, just to note as well, there's also some companies you can't pay on a weekly basis. So for example, if you have your car insurance or car registration, normally you'll have to pay the company on a yearly basis, and then you can't direct debit them on a weekly basis. You can't, send them money on a weekly basis. What do you do in that instance? I would set up a personal savings account within your bank. So for example, you have your bank, you have your checking or your income account. Under that, I would have like a bills account. I would then just transfer every single week $30 into that. So once it comes around to your registration, the money for your registration will be sitting in your bills account, and you just transfer from your bills account out to that company. And then you just leave that same amount. And obviously if the price goes up or down, you would just adjust the yearly cost over here as well. Once you have set this up, all right, our main goal is to try and get your expenses down to 60% or below your income. All right. So let's say, for example, your income is $1,200 per week, and that's after tax. That's not before tax. That's what you actually take home at the end of the day. and your weekly expenses are added up, all right, all over here, to be $799, all right. Now, if you're a single person, that's probably a bit expensive, but if it's $799, 60% of your income, all right, so this number here, 60% of your income should be no more than $720, which means you want and or need to get down your weekly cost to be no more than $720. So currently I'm spending too much, all right, if I was using this as a real life example. So we want to get your expenses down, all right. Now, after that, you're going to have your remaining amount, which is going to be $400. Now, if you're following the actual barefoot method specifically, usually what this is going to be is 60% of your income is going to cover off your expenses, or less. If you can get away with less, go for it. 10% will go to your personal spend per week, 10% for a medium-term saving, like a holiday or something like that, and then you've got an emergency investing fund. So if the dog gets sick, or if you have a toothache and you have to go to the dentist and you don't have private health insurance, this is where the emergency fund would come off. Now, at the bare minimum, we want everyone to have at least $2,000 emergency fund. So that is actually emergency fund at the bare minimum. But you want to ideally get this to at least 3 to 6 months worth of living expenses, all right, eventually. But at the bare minimum, this is essentially like your personal credit card. If you have to tap into this, and let's say the dog gets sick, and then you go down to $1,000, this emergency fund every single week would keep going back into here until it's topped back up to $2,000. All right. So we always want to have that $2,000 there, or as topped up as close to $2,000 as you can. As you start saving a lot more money, then obviously this can increase. So $5,000, $10,000, $20,000. I would say eventually try and get this to about $10,000, and then that would just sit in a high interest savings account, and then you just never touch it. It's there for emergencies only. But once this is full and you have your $2,000, this money here would then go to assets such as things like investing in the stock market, things like the S&P 500, or if you're purchasing, say, Vanguard All Australian Index. I'm in Australia, obviously, so just a low fees index fund is really good, in my opinion, personal advice, in my opinion, or whatever you want to put money towards in terms of investing. All right. So also when you set a budget for yourself, so this is your weekly personal spend, this is basically you being able to go out, have fun with your friends, buy some pizza, get a coffee, any social events that you have throughout the week. This is for you to go and do that. Now, $100 may not sound like much to you, but this is the point of a budget. You know, this is how much you can save or you can spend comfortably. Do some stuff, have some fun, go out for a couple of drinks or whatever you want to do with your friends, and still save a good chunk of your money to go towards your future. This also allows for you to go on holidays and actually have some fun in your life. So what sometimes happens is people get too much, they become too much of a McScrooge and they save every single cent. And then there's people on the other spectrum where they spend all their money and they have no idea about their finances, and that's how they end up in debt. And we avoid credit cards like the plague. We absolutely no to credit cards, okay? And then obviously with your emergency investing fund, that's the additional cost that goes above and beyond these expenses for you to invest into your future or unexpected events. Now, what you want to do is with this weekly cost is you want to set up an automatic payment on the day that you get paid to that company. So for most companies, you'll be able to set up something like a BPay or an automatic debit to the company every single week. Now, yes, sometimes you might be charged slightly more for some things and slightly less for some things on some months, depending on what it is. So for example, if you have a petrol expense and you spend about $24, $25 per week, if you're driving around a lot one week, then this may go up a little bit. And if you're just not driving around at the moment, just because everyone's at home, stuck in home, then this may go down to $10 a week, and that's okay. You just want to get an average for the year. It doesn't have to be exact. And then this would pay out every single week to those companies. So your rent goes out. Most people don't do this, all right? This is a very, very simple way to manage all of your expenses. If you get paid on a fortnightly basis, you would just change this over to fortnightly. So instead of doing, say, 52 weeks in the year, you would put this at 26. So it would be every fortnight. And then this is how much you would need to come out every fortnight. If you get paid monthly, you would just change this number over to 12. So you're doing this number here divided by 12 is $140 per month. Cool. But for the far majority of people, if you get paid on a weekly basis, I would just leave this as is. Now, if you're a sole trader or if you run your own business or company, it may be different because you'll have expenses coming out from different areas, different places. Some you'll pay monthly, some you'll pay yearly, things like that. Then that's okay. You still want to just average out the cost per year, still average out the cost per week, and try and set yourself an income per week, and then obviously pay that on a weekly basis. And that's it. It's a really easy, simple way to manage your money. All right, guys. Hope you found that helpful. If you did, like, subscribe for more, because I'm going to be posting a lot more videos on how to make money, save money, and spend your money wisely. And I'll see you in the next video.